I'm Betty. Welcome to my kitchen.
Our pumpkin dog treats were such a big hit that I decided to make a recipe that I recently got from our wonderful vet from the Black River Animal Hospital, Dr. Tack. He's been taking wonderful care of our dogs for quite some time now, and he puts out a monthly newsletter, and this time he included a recipe for these peanut butter dog treats. And the ingredients are quite simple. A cup of whole wheat flour, half a cup of creamy peanut butter, a quarter cup of unsweetened applesauce, and you can substitute a quarter cup of ripe mashed banana for that if you like. And I've got also a quarter cup of chicken stock. I guess you could use beef stock if you prefer, but I always have chicken stock on hand, so that's always a go-to ingredient for me. And all we're going to do is mix these together. Take the flour and scoop out our peanut butter here. Judging by how much Molly loves just plain old peanut butter, I suspect these are going to be quite a hit with her. We'll add our applesauce. Stir this together. These are really fun to do. Now, last time I did cut them out with a cutter, but Molly's mouth is so tiny that even the smallest cutter is a little big for her. So what I'm going to do this time is cut them in squares, which will not only be the perfect size for her, it'll also be a lot easier to do. No rolling and re-rolling scraps, except for a tiny bit, I suspect, at the very end. Just add that chicken stock and get this together into a nice dough. I've preheated my oven incidentally to 350 degrees, and I've got a parchment-lined cookie sheet all ready. Just give this a good mix. It does smell very peanutty, I must say. It might just be easier to do this last little bit by hand. It's a very stiff dough. It's not so stiff, though. If you wanted to do this in a mixer, you probably could, unlike the other dough, which was way too stiff. And that looks pretty good. All right, so what I'll do now is just use some wax paper . And incidentally, a little trick. If you're rolling out on a board, as I'm about to do, and you don't want it to slide all over the place, just put a damp cloth underneath it, and that'll keep your board firmly in place while you roll. Now, I think I'm going to do this in half, flatten it out a bit. And I've got my rings, which I've shown you before. These just slip on, and they're going to allow me to roll this out very evenly to exactly a 1/4 inch. Now, this dough is quite easy to roll. I might as well get it as square as possible. And there we go. Well, these are nice and easy to do. And what I'm going to do is just slip these off. And I'll use my rolling pin as a guide, and instead of a knife, I'm going to use my trusty pizza cutter. And I'm going to make these probably a little less than a 1/2 inch, I would say. As you can see, this is much easier than than cutting them out. But just to make them a little fancy, instead of squares, we'll make them into diamonds. And there we go. I'll scoop away the raggedy edges, and I'll just use my offset spatula to help transfer these to my cookie sheet. They just separate quite easily. And these are going to bake for about 18 minutes or so. So I'll just continue cutting and getting these ready, and I'll see you when we're ready to put them in the oven. Of course, I've got lots and lots of these because Molly is such a little dog. Your yield will depend, of course, on what size dog you have and how big you decide to make them. I've even done the very last bit of the dough into little squares, and I can use these as training treats. So what I'm going to do now is bake them for about 18 minutes until they're nice and browned and good and hard. And we'll just set our timer. So there you have it, another easily prepared treat for your favorite pup. And I know your pup will enjoy them.